Today, we're looking at the new expansion to Underwater Cities, New Discoveries. Thank you for joining me today at Tainter Mouse Studio D. I'm Kevin Delp. Underwater Cities is an action selection, route, and city building game that takes about 3 hours to play. They say on the box 40 minutes per player. And this is published by Rio Grande Games in the States, and across the pond it is Delicious Games. Rio Grande sent us the expansion New Discoveries to review, so let's take a look at it. You'll be adding new cards to the decks and new building tokens to the supply. And for a quick start version, which I highly recommend you start with, you'll have resource tiles and personal assistant cards. These personal assistant cards bring much more variety and replayability to the game with all their different powers, and you start on year 2 instead of year 1 for a quick start. There's also new player boards. Boards 1 through 4 and 5 through 8 are identical to the base game, but 9 through 12 are used with one of the variants, and 13 through 16 bring even more asymmetric gameplay. There's also game variants in the expansion that are going to change setup as well. Let's look at some of those. In the Metropolis Race variant, you are choosing the blue and green metropolises during gameplay. When you first connect to a place where one should go, you get to choose a blue tile you want from the market. The second time, you choose a green tile. In Metropolis Choice, you'll use boards 13 through 16, and the board shows you the number of Metropolis tiles you choose from. Now, Museum is one of the bigger variants in the expansion. It actually comes with the Museum board that it actually goes in the main player area, and it's double-sided, so it adds even more variability to the game so you can choose what side to play with in your game. You'll randomly receive 5 face-down discovery tiles as well at the beginning of the game. When you build on certain sites, you reveal one tile and then place it in the museum. Your first tile gets placed in the middle, the next one in row 2, then column 3, and so on. Each area has its own unique benefits. The museum variant adds a lot more exploration to the game, and just a lot more abundance to the game, as you are just getting a lot more benefits throughout the game with all the things that you're getting. But even without the variants, the standard game with the new cards from the expansion adds more replayability and more dimension to the game, so there isn't just one winning strategy. There's a lot more cards to the game, and you're not going to see all of them in the game as you go through the different eras, which I think is a good thing. I think that's going to keep the game fresh. Now, this expansion is going to add a little bit more time to the gameplay, except if you use the quick start rules, which I highly recommend, and that will really jumpstart your game, and it won't make it go as long. I think my favorite addition to Underwater Cities are the personal assistants. I love it when a game has variable player powers, and that's what this feels like. And I just love that the player boards are inset so that the buildings and the pieces all fit in there really well and they're not sliding around. To me, that is worth the price of the expansion right there. And they add a whole bunch more too, which is great. The cards do have slightly different colors in the different eras, but it's hardly noticeable. You really have to look close to see the differences. So, if you already have Underwater Cities, the base game, then this is a great addition. And if you don't, then what are you waiting for? I think you'll love Underwater Cities if you enjoy games like Terraforming Mars or Council of Fourth or Route Building. I love the action selection mechanic. It's just really cool what they did with Underwater Cities. So check out the New Discoveries expansion to Underwater Cities from Rio Grande Games here in the States. And as always, we would love for you to subscribe to Tainter Mouse and like this video.